Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Movie Blog. I'm your host, Joey Strandberg, and today is the day where I'm going to do my complete Blu ray collection. I do this every year. I look forward to it every year, even though it is a bit exhausting trying to get these off and on the shelves. But without further ado, let us get into this. Okay, so how I do this is I'm doing it in alphabetical order, starting with numbers. 310 to Yuma, a fantastic western. I love. This is one of James Mangold's best movies. He's a director who I find highly underrated. 12 Angry Men, my favorite black and white movie, still holds up very well, and this is the first of the criterions you're going to see. I don't have a whole lot of criterions, but I'm trying to get more into them. 1917, one of my favorite movies from 2019. Not a rewatchable movie for being for like home movies, but I mean, it's definitely a movie that you have to experience once in the theater. 1984, interesting movie. Not one I'm gonna rewatch a whole lot, but I see why the book is popular to read in schools. And then last for the numbers, 2001: A Space Odyssey, one of Kubrick's best movies, and one of the greatest 4Ks ever. Now we're kicking off the A's. Starting off, I have the Alfred Hitchcock collection on 4K, consisting of Rear Window, Vertigo, Psycho, and The Birds. One of the greatest directors ever. He's up there. Probably my favorite director. I have lots of favorites. I got two sci-fi classics, Alien on 4K, and then Aliens on regular Blu-ray. Hoping this gets a 4K soon. We just have to get James Cameron out of Pandora, but I love both these movies. I did this as a part of my Creature feature watch for the month of October. Alright. Ant-Man. Really solid Marvel movie. I do wish Edgar Wright stayed on for it. I don't have Ant-Man and the Wasp yet. I do enjoy that movie, though. Apocalypse Now. One of the greatest war movies of all time. And one of Coppola's best movies. And what's weird about this version is like it's this digipack thing, but I thought it would have like a slipcase, so it's kind of weird on my shelf. Okay. Aquaman Steelbook. This is a pretty fun movie, even though it has Johnny Depp's psycho ex-wife, but we don't talk about her. Arrival. I don't have the 4K to this for whatever reason, but Denis Villeneuve is one of my favorite directors working today, and I can't wait to get Dune, because I love that one, but I love this movie. It's my second favorite movie of his. And then we get to the Avengers movies. The Avengers is one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. I know I'm not the biggest fan of Joss Whedon as a person, but I still love that one. Avengers Age of Ultron has its issues, but still a pretty damn good movie. The movie that took the internet by storm, Avengers Infinity War. Yeah, this is one of my favorite MCU movies. And then Avengers Endgame, one of the greatest theater experiences I've ever had in my entire life. And I think this is my favorite MCU movie. I'm still deciding between that and this new Spider-Man movie. I keep calling Spider-Man Spidey for whatever reason, but that's the end of our A's. Onto the B's. Okay, so starting the B's off, we got Baby Driver. I'm a massive Edgar Wright fan, and this is one of my favorite movies from him. It's like my second or third favorite. Back to the Future, one of the greatest trilogies of all time. Great Scott! It's tough to say which one's my favorite. I love both the first and second one, and I still like the third one, even though I don't think it's as good. Starting off our crap ton of Batman Blu-rays to get through. I got the Adam West Batman. I don't own the TV show yet, but, I grew up with this stuff, so I have a bit of a childhood biasness towards Adam West as Batman. And then we got the Batman motion picture anthology consisting of Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. Batman and Batman Returns are two of my favorite comic book movies of all time, and we don't talk about the other two. And one of the steelbooks fell out. Okay. Next up, we got Batman the Animated Series, my favorite animated show of all time, and this does include copies of Batman Mask of the Phantasm and Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero. Mask of the Phantasm is my favorite Batman movie outside of the Dark Knight trilogy. Sub-Zero is pretty good. And then I got Batman Beyond the complete series, and this does have Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, which is another one of my favorite Batman movies. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. Some of my favorite movies of all time. This is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. The Dark Knight is my favorite comic book movie of all time. And I love the other two to death. And then I got some animated ones. I got Batman Year One, which definitely is one of my favorites. Lego Batman movie, which I just think is an absolute blast. Gotham by Gaslight, which I think is pretty good. And Batman Hush is one of the worst animated Batman movies. That's the Batmans. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Great movie, not highly rewatchable. Well, that's just like your opinion, man. Big Lebowski, my favorite comedy of all time. Jeff Bridges is so good in that one. Birds of Prey, really good movie. Wish it didn't bomb at the box office. I wish I actually was one of the few people that saw it in theaters, but I didn't. Black Panther, rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. And this is a great Marvel movie. Could have been top tier if the CGI in the third act was a bit better, but I still think this is great. Black Widow. It's okay. Uh, had some pretty cool action scenes, but has some of the worst villains in Marvel. Next up, we got Blade Runner, one of the greatest science fiction movies, and Blade Runner 2049, a sequel that had no right to be as good as it was. Denis Villeneuve cannot do wrong. Blue Velvet, haven't seen it. I got the James Bond collection, which has everything up to Spectre, and I got the Steelbook to No Time to Die, one of my favorite movies of the year. Pretty big Bond movie fan, but my favorite's Casino Royale. Breakthrough. Got this from a friend, haven't seen it. Bridesmaids. Not a big Paul Feig fan, but this is one of my favorite movies from him. And I believe it's the only one I own, but that wraps up the bees. The Captain America trilogy, consisting of the first Avenger, the Winter Soldier, and Civil War. I got all of them on these nice steelbooks. My favorite's Winter Soldier. Civil War comes close to it. And First Avenger, I actually think, is pretty underrated. Christmas Story, holiday classic for a reason. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, one of Spielberg's best. These aren't movies, but I have the first two seasons of Daredevil on Blu-ray. Wish they'd release the third one on Blu-ray, because this is my all-time favorite comic book show, and for whatever reason, they don't put the best season on Blu-ray, but I guess that has more to do with Disney. I'm glad he's back for the MCU now. The Departed, one of my favorite Scorsese movies. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Die Hard, my favorite action movie of all time, and my favorite Christmas movie of all time, which all of you guys should watch during Christmas. What a great movie, Mock. The Disaster Artist, one of my favorite movies of 2017. Even though the stuff of James Franco nowadays doesn't hold up because of his allegations, that's still a great movie. Django Unchained, probably my second or third favorite Tarantino movie. Dread, badass movie, and a badass steelbook to go with it. Dunkirk, not my favorite Nolan movie, but still a great movie nonetheless. Easy Rider steelbook, still haven't seen the movie. Ender's Game, big fan of the book, okay adaptation. E.T. Phone Home. It's a movie that made me cry, and I know Ken from Mid-Level Media is probably drooling right now. The Father, Anthony Hopkins definitely deserved the win, even though I'm still pretty sour about how the Academy handled the whole ceremony this year, but yeah, my favorite movie from 2020. Rule number one about Fight Club: never talk about Fight Club. But I'm going to talk about this. my second favorite Fincher movie. Yeah. Definitely a bit of a weird one to watch at 11 o'clock at night, though. Ford v Ferrari, one of my favorite movies from 2019. James Mangold slowly becoming one of my favorite filmmakers. Alright. Well, looks like we're starting the G's, so I'm gonna grab Game of Thrones to complete series. My second favorite TV show of all time, right behind Breaking Bad. My favorite box set in my collection. Season 8, pretty terrible, but, doesn't make me hate the rest of the series like some people do. Ghostbusters! Absolute classic. Can't wait to get Afterlife on 4K, because I love that one. The Godfather Trilogy. First two are some of the greatest movies of all time. Third one, I think, is actually better than a lot of people say it is, but Sofia Coppola, is not one of my favorites in that one. Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, my favorite Western of all time. Oh, here we go. Goodfellas, my favorite Martin Scorsese movie, and Joe Pesci gave one of the greatest Oscar speeches. Grease, one of my favorite musicals. Criterion edition of The Great Escape, one of my favorite movies, has one of the catchiest scores. Guardians of the Galaxy Volumes 1 and 2, two of my favorite MCU movies. James Gunn is just a genius when it comes to comic book movies. And The Hateful Eight, an underrated Tarantino movie. Heat, my favorite heist movie, and Disney, you were taking forever on that 4K. Inception, one of my favorite Nolan movies. It takes a few watches to understand, but it has one of my favorite endings. Indiana Jones, The Complete Collection. This could go in the duplicates because I got the 4K Steelbook set. Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of my favorite movies ever. Temple of Doom and The Last Crusade are great, and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is fine. Inglourious Bastards, one of my favorite Tarantino movies. Christoph Waltz gives one of probably my favorite performance in a Tarantino movie in this one. The Invisible Man, one of my favorite movies from 2020. Alright. Interstellar, one of my favorite Nolan movies. I'm doing my really bad Matthew McConaughey impression. I didn't like this movie when I first saw it, but upon rewatches, I loved it. The Iron Giant, one of my favorite animated movies. Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 3. Don't own Iron Man 2 yet. I think both of these are great. Iron Man 2 I think is just okay, but I'm going to get that just to complete the collection. It, one of the greatest horror movies of the 2010s. The Steelbook to It's a Wonderful Life, one of the greatest Christmas movies ever. Jackie Brown, not my favorite Tarantino movie, but still a great movie. Jaws, one of my favorite of Spielberg's. It's probably my second favorite, right behind Raiders. The John Wick trilogy on 4K. Some of the greatest action movies to come out in recent years. Cannot wait for John Wick 4. Joker, one of the greatest performances in a comic book movie. Joaquin Phoenix really deserved that Oscar. I really hope they don't make a sequel to this, because it works best as a one-off. Hey Joey, I hear you have a collection. I found this really cheap. It exists in my collection for whatever reason. Jumanji, one of Robin Williams' best movies. Welcome to Jurassic Park, or Jurassic World, whatever they call this franchise. I only like the first one of these. 2 is okay. 3 is trash. Jurassic World, okay. Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, is trash. Alrighty. The Zack Snyder's Justice League collection, consisting of Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. So glad we finally got the Snyder cut of this. And I love Man of Steel, like Batman vs. Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League is my favorite DCEU movie. And no, I do not own whatever that theatrical cut was. And then I got a couple of Justice League animated movies. This one's fine, and this one is a really interesting take on the Justice League. And Just Mercy, one of my favorite movies from 2020. Kick-Ass. I got a Kick-Ass Steelbook for a Kick-Ass movie. Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2, these work great as one movie. You know, the first part has all the action, and Volume 2 has all the payoff. Knives Out, one of my favorite movies from 2019. It's just so refreshing that we get movies like this, and I cannot wait for the sequels to come on Netflix. Kung Fu Panda, one of my favorite animated movies ever. I need to get the other 2. LA Confidential, one of my favorite movies ever. This really got me into old noir movies and the work by James Ellroy. The Last Duel, one of my favorite movies of this year. I loved it so much. The Lighthouse, a movie that it took me a bit to appreciate, but I love this movie so much. Robert Pattinson, God, he's such a talented actor. I cannot wait to see what he does with Batman. Lincoln, really good movie. One of Daniel Day-Lewis's great performances. Logan, one of my favorite Marvel movie. Well, this is my favorite Marvel movie, and it was my favorite movie of 2017, I believe. Yeah. And one of the greatest trilogies of all time, the Lord of the Rings trilogy on 4K. Extended cuts are the way to go. I'm getting ready to do a marathon really soon. Mad Max Fury Road, one of the greatest action movies. My favorite action movie of the past 10 years. Matrix, one of the greatest movies of all time. I did watch Resurrections, and it was okay. Oops. Men in Black Trilogy, some of my favorite. The first one's one of my favorite movies. 2's pretty bad, and 3 is actually surprisingly really good. And then International. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, and Mission Impossible Fallout. This is one of my favorite action movies of the past 10 years, and this one's pretty good. I need to get the rest of them. I just need to buy that collection already. Minari, one of the greatest movies of 2020. Stephen Yeun, I'm really happy that he's getting more work after Walking Dead. And then Mulholland Drive, which I have not seen. The Naked Gun collection. I got this German release for whatever reason, but one of my favorite comedy trilogies. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. One of my favorite. I love the vacation movies. Nice Guys, my favorite movie of 2016. Really wish this would get a sequel. Nightcrawler, Jake Gyllenhaal's best performance, and honestly, this is one of my favorite movies ever. Night of the Living Dead, classic zombie movie. Nobody, one of my favorite action movies this year. It's really highly entertaining. Got Bob Odenkirk is someone I never thought I would see as an action star. But when I saw the trailers, I'm like, I need it. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Honestly, this is my second favorite of Tarantino's movies now. It's like his most rewatchable, honestly. And The Outsiders. This is the movie that brings back lots of middle school memories. I remember 7th grade English class. We read the book and watched the movie. And the book is one of my favorite books, and this movie is great. Alright, we're getting there. Paranorman, one of my favorite of Laika's movies. Parasite, my favorite movie of 2019. This is getting me into foreign movies. I'm slowly getting into them, and this is the movie that's kind of responsible for just getting me into them. Planet of the Apes, a classic. I love this one, but I prefer the new trilogy, which consists of Rise, Dawn, and War. These movies are great. I just love seeing Caesar's progression throughout all three. And yeah. I am an FBI agent. Point Break, one of my favorite action movies. Pokemon Detective Pikachu, really solid movie. It surprised me because video game adaptations aren't really that great. Predator, get to the chopper! My favorite Schwarzenegger movie. And The Prestige. My favorite Nolan movie outside of the Dark Knight trilogy. Prisoners, my favorite Denis Villeneuve movie. Yeah, the dude's one of my favorite filmmakers working. And Hugh Jackman honestly gives his best performance. Prometheus, this should probably go with my Alien movies, but this is like a conundrum of really good ideas and really awful ideas. It's masterfully directed, though. Pulp Fiction, my favorite Tarantino movie. Yeah, this movie is great. It really revitalized John Travolta's career for the time being until he went back to doing Walmart bargain bin movies. A Quiet Place, one of the most creative horror movies of all time, and the sequel, which I like even better. This is one of my favorite movies of the year. The Road, not a movie I could watch over and over again, but I really like this one. Rocky, my favorite sports movie, and I can see why it won Best Picture that year. Saving Private Ryan, my favorite war movie of all time. That beach sequence is just wow. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Yeah, I love this movie. It's probably my least favorite of Edgar Wright's movies, but still a damn good movie. And shout out to 4K Media Guy. This is his favorite movie of all time, I believe. And Seven, my favorite David Fincher movie. And it has my favorite ending of all time. Seven Samurai. I'm getting into Kurosawa's movies thanks to HBO Max. Picked this one up, and this is my favorite of his. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, one of my favorite Marvel movies, has some of the best fight choreography in the MCU. Shape of Water, really good movie. Not sure if this would have been my pick for Best Picture, but I don't really hear a lot of people talking about it, that much. I just hear jokes about how it's the fish sex movie, but oh well. This 4K 3-pack consisting of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. Shaun of the Dead might be the best zombie movie ever. Hot Fuzz is my favorite cop comedy, and The World's End is just a lot of fun.
My name is Morgan Freeman.
The Shawshank Redemption, my favorite Stephen King movie, and this is probably my top 5 movies of all time. Shazam, one of my favorite DCEU movies, and this is probably my favorite Steelbook from the DC movies that I own. I just love the simplistic design. The Social Network, not a very good cover, but one of Fincher's best, and Aaron Sorkin really knows how to make movies interesting. May the Schwartz be with you. Spaceballs, my favorite Star Wars parody. This movie's just a classic Mel Brooks movie. Spider-Man. I got the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. I love the first two. Third one has its moments. Spider-Man Homecoming, which I think is great. No Way Home, which is fine. I think it has its moments of greatness, but I don't think it's the best movie ever. I am going to be getting No Way Home when it comes out because I love that movie. And then my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time, Into the Spider-Verse. Star Wars time! I got the complete saga. Prequels are fine. Revenge of the Sith is definitely the best one of the prequels. And then with the original trilogy, I got them on their despecialized edition. So here's Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. This is my favorite trilogy of all time. These are some of my favorite... Well, like, Empire Strikes Back is probably my favorite movie. I love A New Hope and Return of the Jedi as well. And that's my preferred way of watching Star Wars. And then I got the sequel trilogy, which Force Awakens and Last Jedi I love, and Rise of Skywalker I hate. This is my least favorite Star Wars movie. And then I got Rogue One, which is pretty good, and Solo, which is fine. And then I got the complete Skywalker Saga box set on 4K. One of the coolest box sets in my collection. Happy to have these on 4K. And that's all the Star Wars stuff. The Suicide Squad. One of my favorite movies of the year. Absolutely hilarious. Superman the movie, one of my favorite comic book movies. I got this shorts collection, pretty good shorts.
I will look for you, I will find you, and I will kill you.
One of my favorite action movies. And of course now Liam Neeson does multiple Taken ripoffs each year. Taxi Driver, one of my favorite Scorsese movies, second behind Goodfellas. Got this really nice steelbook to it. And then I got the Bay Turtle movies. They're pretty bad. Alright, we're in the home stretch here. Tenet, yeah, an interesting Nolan movie. I still don't fully understand it, but it's a movie that keeps me intrigued to rewatch it. The Terminator Collection. First two are great. Third one's awful. Fourth one's okay. I don't own Genesis or Dark Fate. The Thing, my favorite horror movie of all time, and the 4K is fantastic. Thor Ragnarok. This movie's awesome. One of my favorite MCU movies. Toy Story 1, 2, and 3, and Toy Story 4. These are some of my favorite animated movies. This one's pretty good. I don't think it's as great. It's my least favorite of the 4 Toy Story movies. True Detective Season 1. Don't know where the slipcase to this is, but one of the greatest shows of all time. Uncut Gems. Why wasn't Adam Sandler nominated for this one? One of my favorite movies from 2019. And then I got this 3-pack with V for Vendetta, Watchmen, and Constantine. I need to upgrade this one to 4K and just buy an individual one for Constantine. And we finally made it to the last pile. Ugh, let's do this. Walking Dead Season 5. This is a pretty great season of Walking Dead. I don't own the rest of them for whatever reason. Don't even know why I bought this one, honestly. Because it's on Netflix, so... Walk the Line, my favorite biopic, and in my opinion, Joaquin Phoenix's and Reese Witherspoon's best performances. Watchmen, one of my favorite comic book movies, and the miniseries, which is great. West Side Story, my favorite musical, still need to see the remake. The Wolverine, pretty good Wolverine movie. Wonder Woman, one of my favorite DC movies, and Wonder Woman 1984, a completely mediocre sequel. Yeah, I didn't really like Wonder Woman 84 that much upon rewatch. The X-Men Trilogy collection, you know, I like the first one, loved the second one. Third one's interesting, and then I got this other box set for the newer trilogy with First Class, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse. Love the first two. Apocalypse is pretty mediocre. And we finally made it to the last one, Zoolander. Yeah, one of my favorite comedies, got it in a nice steelbook. Well, we finally made it to the end of this collection. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love doing these every year. And if you like this video, click that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.